should be online right now. I want you, again, I want you to tell me if you can hear me clearly. I've checked the audio is doing it well, but I want you to confirm it to me. I've checked the audio is doing it well, but I want you to confirm it to me. I've checked the audio is. So let me know. Checking it on my phone, it's working. Again, let me know if you're there and let me know if you can hear me clearly. I'll spend the first 3 to 4 minutes doing this. Hold on. Okay. Someone told me here that I'm loud and clear, so that should be it. And please communicate in the live chat, because I have a live chat open, I can see here in front of me. But okay. For those that are here and watching, in this live stream, hold on, I'm going to talk about constructive declarations and how to counter voodoo spells. So that's the purpose of this live stream. But I found out that there are people who can't talk in the live chat. So let me see what's up with that. No, it's all at work, so it should work perfectly fine. But okay, let me check this again. Maybe that's why I don't hear see anyone saying anything. Yes, there's a live chat now. Let me write a thing. Yes, the live chat is working. For those that are here, refresh your browser, then you can talk in the live chat. So that's how you can ask questions and I can see them live. So please do that. Or if you're on your mobile phone, just reopen the live stream. Okay. So again, this video will be about constructive declarations and how to undo voodoo spells. I believe it was yesterday or 2 days ago, I made a video about voodoo spells, and that voodoo spells are really the hacking of female spirituality. Now, some of you may not have seen that video. That's not a problem, because I'll briefly repeat the content of that video, but in a different way. For those who haven't seen it, it comes down to this. I still want you to go and look to the video after this live stream, because I'm not going to repeat exactly everything. It goes like this. A voodoo spell is when you misuse feminine power, feminine spiritual power, to drain the male population. That is what a voodoo spell is. And the way you reach this grip on the male population is by using traumatic images. Let's say this, the image itself is not traumatic, but it becomes a traumatic image by the association you give to that image. Again, if you're here and you can't chat in the live stream, you can't chat in the live chat, then if it's on your app or your mobile phone, then restart it. Restart, not your whole phone, but restart the YouTube app and then click on the live stream. If you're behind your browser, just click refresh because the live chat is working. So, okay. So in a voodoo spell, there's an image. This image is presented to the population, especially the female population, because it's the hacking of female spirituality. You expose women to an image over and over again. At the same time, you associate a bad meaning or a traumatic event with this image. So when people associate this traumatic meaning with this image, every time they see that image, they're triggered on the inside. It does something to them. So now that image has a hold on them, even though it's just an image. And now this is what happens. Once the image has been established in the collective memory of the female population, evil spirits now can use that image to control the female population. So now there's this traumatic image, and the females are affected by this image. So now the females will agree with this image, and their agreement with the image is what enables the evil spirits to work through them. And they're not even aware evil spirits are working through them. That is the scary part of a voodoo spell. So I want to explain this first before I continue with this live stream. We are almost 8 minutes in the stream now. The first 3 minutes I was just asking you whether you could hear me. For those that are watching me now, can you please leave a message in the live chat? Okay. I still don't hear anyone. I don't see anyone, I mean. So what I'm going to do now. Oh, okay. I see Sarah's over here. That's good. Okay, you know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to show some examples of collective voodoo spells that have been conducted on the masses. Okay? So, let me go to the internet and hold on. Let me first put it over here. Okay, hold on. So let me type in Marilyn. I'm not going to talk too much about this figure, but I'm beginning at the basics of how in the modern era and also postmodern era they've used voodoo spells on the masses, and the masses were not even aware that voodoo spells were used on them. So bear with me. So what you see here is I've typed in Marilyn Monroe in Google search and I got some results. And I'm going to the English version because I'm speaking English in this live stream. And many of you, your native language is English also. Hold on, let me make this smaller so you can see it better. Hold on. I want to make this a bit smaller. Yes. No, not that. Yes, this is what I want. All right. So again, I will begin to show small examples, basic examples, and go to the more advanced examples of voodoo spells used on the masses. So you see this Wikipedia page, but it's not about the Wikipedia page. It's not about the online encyclopedia I'm talking about here. When you see this, you think, she was an official figure. It gives you the idea this individual was significant, that this individual was important. And indeed, this individual was important. This individual had an enormous impact on culture and on society. That's obvious, that's true. We're not going to deny that. But the question you need to ask is, why were they so impactful on society? Who was behind their impact? There's one thing you need to ask yourself. So here you read Marilyn Monroe, born Norma Jane Mortensen. So Marilyn Monroe is not even a real name. So when people say Marilyn Monroe, they're talking about a character. Yes, it's a character. They're not talking about the real identity of someone. It's a character. Because her birth name was different. Well, I'm not going to transvestigate this figure. You can do that yourself, even though you can't convince me this is a natural born woman, but okay, I'm not going into that discussion right now. Just look at this. This is an image. Okay, that's obvious, it's an image. What do you see on this image? And by the way, for those in the live stream, feel free to comment because I'll be asking questions and I want you to interact. Because I'm here to teach you. Okay, so I installed this app where you can chat with me while doing the live stream because I want you to interact with me now that I'm doing this. You see this image here. What do you really see here? Write it in the live chat for me. What do you see? What's the first thing that comes up in your mind? And look closer to the image. Let's see if I can make it bigger. No, I'll leave it like this. I'll wait for 1 minute to see what you guys and girls write down. I'll wait 30 seconds more. Seconds. Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So I asked what you saw, and I have some answers here. A seductive woman, breast, no bra, and Phoebe said unrealistic image. Well, what they want you to think this is a seductive woman. That's what they want you to think. Someone said breast, no bra. That's fact. That's probably factual. And someone else said, Phoebe said unrealistic image, and that's what it comes down to. You see the blue sky. Blue is a color that calms people down. psychologically. That's why authorities love to use the color blue. Red provokes you. That's why Spain uses red in their flag, because it tends to motivate you on an unconscious level. Pagans know this. You see the blue? This is a symbol for they want to enforce something on you. So you know that there's enforcement behind this. Okay, what are they enforcing? You see there's green over here. Green is a quote-unquote neutral color that pagans like to use. It's used for witchcraft also. When the ancient Greeks used green to signify witchcraft, but it's also a color used by African people just to show that they don't want to bother with all that political stuff. But anyway, you have green below. You have a mountainous landscape, and you have a blonde female with a red lipstick wearing white. And the individual doesn't look at you. The individual looks sideways to someone else. So psychologically, this tricks you to think, what is she looking at? If she would look at you, you would sense, I'm being looked at, even though it's just an image, but she doesn't look at you. So that means that you're not important. That's how the mind works. The mind picks up clues. So when they present an image onto you, or an image to you, they use suggestions. They position the image in such a way that it suggests something in your mind. Do you understand this? They never present an image onto you. Okay, onto you is a bit old-fashioned English, but I'll use it anyway because I'm used to do it. So bear with me. When they present an image onto you, they do it because they want to suggest something in your mind. They never put out an image out there and just for fun, just to entertain you. That doesn't happen in the world. So that's one of the images. Let's continue. I'll move away from this abominable figures very soon. But just so you know, every image they gave onto you, they suggested something to you. Okay, let's continue. All right, let me look at a good one. Well, I'm not going to ask you what you see here. Tell me what's missing in this picture. So what do you not see over here? I'm asking that. What do you not see on this image? What's missing? I'll give you 1.5 minutes to answer. Just a tip, something doesn't end up in the picture. Okay, just look, what's missing and what do you don't see over here? One more minute. Oh, by the way, Laura Williams, happy Sabbath. Just half a minute more. Ten seconds. All right. What you see here is a suggestion. So there's a message in this image. Some people see this image, think, oh, it's just Marilyn Monroe. She was a model. She's at the beach. Okay, don't look at the shape of the image. Look at the image. The image is a message they deliver onto you. There's a saying, In Dutch, I believe it also exists in English, a picture says more than 1,000 words. That is because pagans understand how powerful images are. Now, first thing first, you have a duality between land and sea. Pagans love duality. They're fond of it. They're obsessed with it. So you have duality over there. And again, blue. You have two dualities. Duality between land and sea, between the what's on earth and what's in the sky. So you have two dualities over there. Then it's blue. Again, they want to enforce something onto you. And you see sunlight. The sun in Greek mythology refers to Apollo. And Apollo was a blonde Nephilim. So they put a blonde white woman with sunlight on her, all references to the beast. She's wearing heels, which means she's in rebellion. By the way, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with a woman wearing heels, even though heels can be painful for your feet. But heels were used by sodomite prostitutes in ancient times. Why? Because the female has long legs by nature. She has a small torso and long legs and wide hips. That's feminine. That's a feminine skeleton structure. The male brain is designed to recognize a feminine skeleton structure and feminine features. The male brain, the brain of the male. So when you want to trigger a man sexually, you can use the image of a female. But if you have a man that pretends to be a woman, they'll have to put on makeup. That's why makeup was invented. It's for men to appear feminine because men are very hard and rough naturally. So to make them appear softer, you use makeup. You'll have to give them some feminine clothes like dresses and all of that. And you will have to fake having breast. You'll have to fake having a feminine figure. So the sodomites in ancient times, during the Babylonian Empire, in ancient Egypt, in ancient China, in ancient Americas, the sodomite prostitutes, which were men, pretended to be females, they were trannies, they used heels to give the illusion of long legs if they had feminine legs. That's why heels were invented, for sodomites. The kings in Europe were blue bloods, walked on heels. And I don't wanna spend too much time on these creeps, but I want to show it to you. This was King Louis XIV, also called the Sun King, sun referring to Apollo. And look at that creep wearing heels. This like a legging, like a female does. Long hair, sodomite. So heels is a dress code for sodomites. Later, witches began to use heels also. They kind of wanted to rebel against male authority. That's why they wore heels. So now you know the history of the heel also. But heels are shown in sunlight to tell you that what this prostitute is doing. She's worshipping the beast. Wearing almost no clothes, so that's giving a sexual suggestion to you. Smiling is looking at you. Eye contact, so you feel recognized. One thing, eye contact makes you feel important. That's a psychological thing. When someone gives you eye contact, you feel recognized. If someone's talking to you and they're doing this, yes sir, I understand. You may feel narcissistic relief if you are looking to dominate others, if you are sick-minded, but any other individual with no urge for narcissistic dominance will feel upset if you are talking to them, but you look down or you look that way. Let's say someone's talking to you, but they're looking there. Hey, yes, Yeah, good, good, good. Would that make you feel well? No. When someone looks at you, they are, how to say, they're meeting one of your basic human needs. That's the need for recognition. So in this image, they want to give you recognition. But here's the trap. I'm explaining all of these because a picture says more than 1,000 words. So that's why I'm decoding this message over here for you. There's one red flag with this image. Where are the other people? Phoebe already said it in the comments. Where are the other people? You can't go to any beach out there on broad daylight with good weather, warm weather, and it's only one blonde woman smiling in a bikini over there. That's not going to happen. Females, as I explained in another video and in multiple videos, are like grapes. Females are designed to operate in a social network, to have a social support system. So women are not beings made for solitude. They're not. So you won't see a woman showing herself off like that all by herself on a beach with nobody around. There needs to be people around to show yourself off too, right? If you're showing yourself off, there needs to be people to see it, or else you wouldn't be showing off. So the image is unrealistic. And I'm going to say it. It's not a transvestigation video, but the structure of this creep here is not feminine. So you know what's going on. I will leave it at that. But before I continue to show you more advanced forms of voodoo spells they've used on us, do you understand everything I've said till now? Is there anything that's unclear onto you? Let me know in the live chat. Okay, Sunshine understands. What's going on is that they're telling women that you're not pretty, you're not feminine, you're not good enough. You see this woman over here, Marilyn Monroe, men want her. So if you want men to want you, if you want to be significant as a woman, you got to be like Marilyn Monroe. And if you are a blonde, white woman, that's very easy. You can just go to the gym or you can just put makeup on and you look a similar way to her. But if you're not a blonde, white woman, it will messes you up if you think that this is what beauty is like. So it goes like this. They put out this image, and you have more images of this creep over here, but okay. There are more images. They put out these images to the female population over and over again. For example, here you see her and all those men gazing at her. And let's say they put out all these images onto the women, over and over again. Let's say you have 10 women, where it doesn't matter which ethnicity they are or what the cultural background is. You have 10 women who are exposed to the images of this creep over and over again, and they hear the message by society, oh, she's a hot woman, she's great, men want her, men want her. What that does to her mind is thinking, oh, I'm not like that, so that means I'm not desirable. If you have 10 women who agree with the message of that image that they are not desirable, what's going to happen? Those 10 women are now in a state of anxiety. And this anxiety generates a negative climate, energetically speaking. And this negative energy that's emitting from the energy fields attracts evil spirits. So now evil spirits have a base that they can use to trap men and to trap other women into deception also. So the voodoo spell is designed so that demons can have a base that they can use to operate. That's just 10 women, okay? Let's say you have 10,000 women who see these images and they all are in agreement with the false message of that image. Now you have clouds of negative energy floating around in Earth's atmosphere. And demons now can jump on those clouds of negative energy and they now increase in strength because they are being fed by the low self-esteem, they're being fed by the low self-worth of those women. So the demons are parasites. They have no natural ability to operate in the earth realm, but by the anxiety of those women, they're now increasing in strength. They're now being boosted and energized by the anxiety. So that is what voodoo spells are intended to do. You present an image to the female population over and over again. You associate a negative meaning with it, and before you know it, the women will believe the negative meaning about themselves. So let's move away from that. So, well, and here's the thing. This figure killed herself. And that's another thing they do. They give you a hero, a quote-unquote role model, and then they destroy that role model. That role model was fake to begin with, but you believed that the role model was real. And because you believed that the role model was real, you shaped yourself after the role model. You're now emotionally attached to the role model. But the role model is fake, but you think the role model is real. So when they now attack the image that is the role model, that attack, you feel it. They did some experiments one time. They made someone think that, let's say this is how the experiment went. You had two people at the other side of the table, and you had the guy that was doing the experiment. He put his arm somewhere, and he had a mannequin arm, underarm, on the table. So the people there thought this is a real arm over there. And then he picked a hammer and he smacked the mannequin hand. And people were shocked, thinking, is this guy breaking his own hand? But here's the thing, it wasn't his own hand, it was just a mannequin, but the illusion was that it was his hand. So people felt the shock that the guy is destroying his own hand, but it wasn't. What if you can make someone believe that it's their hand being smacked, even though it's not their hand? The fact that they believe it's their hand, and you smack that thing, they're going to feel the shock and the pain, as if it's their own hand being smacked. That's how powerful the human mind is. Something doesn't have to be physically true for you to experience it as physically true. Let me repeat that. Something does not have to be physically true for you to experience it as physically true. If you believe something to be true, even though it's not true, you can experience the physical effects of that thing that's not true, because your mind enforced it as true on your body. So that's why those images are designed the way they are. So let's move on to a more advanced form of a voodoo spell. And okay. This one is a bit more advanced. But before I begin explaining this to you, can someone please tell me what they're seeing here? I give you 2 minutes. What do you see and what do you not see? Okay, just half a minute more. Just 20 seconds. 10, 9. Okay. What you see here is one image that's been used over and over again in propaganda. And this is what you need to understand about propaganda. In propaganda, they want you to agree with something. That's what the purpose of propaganda is. Propaganda is similar to advertisement. And some say it's the same thing, but there's a difference. Advertisement is when you want something from someone on the short term. Propaganda is when you want something from someone on the long term. So propaganda is more politically inspired, and that's propaganda, and advertising is more economically inspired. So advertisement is as an economic purpose, and propaganda is a political purpose. In propaganda, you are pulled to agree with something, but you are not aware you're being pulled to agree with something. That's the trick of propaganda. What you see here, you have malnourished children reaching out for food, but there are inconsistencies in this image. First thing first, these children here, you can see their ribs, yet their stomach is full. So either it's full with gas or it's full with other stuff. But okay, that's a bit inconsistent. Here you see a child that's not so malnourished. Here you see another one. So okay, so what makes these two children here looking relatively healthy, and those other two or three over here are completely starving? That's a contradiction, and it's in black and white. There's duality. We go back. But a lot of folks, they don't notice those things when they see a picture. They're only triggered by the first perception. Oh, starving children, oh dear. But look at this. They show you impoverished children over and over again. But there's another thing that is obvious here. They are all African or they're black. Okay? So if you're exposed to such images over and over again, what does it do to your perception of African people or black people? What does it do to your perception? Before you know it, you will associate poverty, sickness, and defects and malnourishment with black people or people from African descent. And what's going to happen next time you see someone that looks like those malnourished children? You unconsciously are going to associate malnourishment, poverty, neglect with those people. Because this is how the mind works. The mind is an associative thing. Okay? The mind makes use of categories. For example, if you saw an apple for the first time, Or not, apple may not be a good example. Let's say you saw an orange for the first time. And your parents told you that's an orange. You cut it and you see it's orange on the inside. And the color is also called orange. Now you receive a grapefruit. But your mind thinks it's an orange. But then you open it and you see that it's red on the inside. Then your mind is thinking, oh, okay, this is a new type of orange, even though it is a grapefruit. What's going on in the mind is an associative thing. So you learn through association. Your first name was an association. When I was a little baby, when they were reaching out to me, they would say Rashid over and over again. So my mind picked up that I'm Rashid. It's an association. And when I was learning how to read and write, they told me you spell Rashid R-A-S-H-I-D. When someone else that was called Rashid from birth learned how to read and write, they said you spell your name R-A-C-H-I-D. It's the same sound, Rashid, but you write it in different ways. Why? It's an association. And people get stuck with these associations. So associations is how we learn and how we relate to others. That's human, that's natural. And those pagans want you to be in agreement with their philosophies. That's why they use images to suggest an agreement onto you. There's a whole discussion going on. As I said, there's a whole controversy going on in the Netherlands about this. So I'm not talking that much about this controversy, but I want you to look at they've changed a bit in this image, so this image may not be that good, but you know what? I'm going to use it anyway. So on this image, you see this guy, old white male, with symbols of authority, and you see this black male, and he appears black, dressed up, decorated. This is a new thing that they've introduced, though, to this there's racism discussion. But in the past, it wasn't like that. In the past, it was more like this. Yes, like this. Okay? Let me say, in the past, before this whole racism discussion, you did it like this. What happens to the mind of a child when the child sees this over and over again? The child will associate old white males as leading figures, and they will see people of color as decorated servants. So now, if you repeat that to a child over and over again, when they grow up, unconsciously, they'll have this program that people of color will be decorated themselves often to prove themselves. So unconsciously, when they are dealing with people of color, they will expect them to make more efforts than people that aren't of color. Why? Because they've been trained to associate performance with skin color. And if this is what they've been socialized into, they'll expect this also from others. That's how the mind works. So these images that they put out to you, they do it on purpose to get you into an agreement. This agreement is unconscious. You're not aware you're agreeing with something, but nevertheless, it's happening. Okay? Now, a lot of people worldwide, they've revolted against the Netherlands and Belgium for continuing this tradition. And they even want this yearly celebration for children to stop. And I can understand why. But I'm not really into discussion of this tradition. I'm showing you what's behind the tradition, what it is they're suggesting onto you. And it's also a form of mockery because these costumes are derived from the Swiss guards, which were African people and also Israelite people that worked for the Pope as a Swiss guard. So they're actually showing you black history, but they relate it to the worship of Baal, because this is the image of Baal over here, in which Baal is perceived as superior. So they're using something real to mock you. So okay, that was another form of an advanced form of a voodoo spell. So I've shown you a basic form of a voodoo spell. Then I went to the more advanced ones, where you are pulled into an agreement without you realize that you're being pulled into an agreement. So the title of this live stream is Constructive Decorations and Undoing Voodoo Spells. So voodoo spells are put out there to get you into an agreement, but you're not told directly what the agreement is. Because if you would be told what the agreement is directly, you would think, no. I can't agree with this. This is way off. You wouldn't do it. That's why they need to suggest the agreement onto you over and over again so that you get attached to the agreement. So let me give an example of how this can work also. And then I'll move to how we as believers can counter these things. Because understand this carefully, understand this well, believer. We need to counter these things. We need to. Mindset 1983. In the beginning of this live stream, I've explained what voodoo spells were. I already made a video about it. And as I mentioned before, voodoo spells are a tactic used by the paranormal and by pagans for political and economic purposes. It dates all the way back to ancient times, to Babylon, to ancient Egypt. That's where it all goes to. Now you have a religion called voodoo that people perceive as relatively new, but it's not really new. So, okay, here's another way of you are tricked, you are pulled into an agreement. Let's say, for example, you have people that come to bring reform. They say now everyone has the right to free education. Okay? And the free education is there. Everyone can attend college. So people go to college. Okay? But then the students want to have jobs. They want to be acknowledged for what they've accomplished. But then they only show you one type of people that make it in society. So it can be that you are on Sri Lanka, for example, and you have the Tamil and the Sinhalese people. And let's say that on television in Sri Lanka, they only show you Sinhalese people that become lawyers, doctors, and become policymakers. They don't show them all the time. Even though you have many Tamil people that also go to school, they also invest in society. What are they suggesting onto you over there? That only the Sinhalese people matter, that only they are relevant. So what happens is when you're exposed only to see the Sinhalese people as being the ones with the decision-making power or with the bounty of the country, automatically you will want to belong to the Sinhalese community. If you're already a Sinhalese individual, you'll feel proud, thinking, oh, I belong to the Sinhalese people. If you're not from the Sinhalese community, but you're from the Tamil community, You'll develop self-hatred because you think that you're nothing. You think that you matter no matter how much you work, how much you study, how much you this and that. You're not accepted because you're never acknowledged. This will build up resentment inside of you, and likely because you now can't stand yourself, everyone that looks like you or is just like you will take it out on them. So that's how you will breed violence within a community. And because the violence manifests in that community, you now can use that community as a scapegoat, saying, you see those Tamil people? They're so violent, they're into criminality, they're terrorists, all of that. So now you will use incidents that happened in a Tamil community, and you will put it in the media, in images, saying, look at all the violence going on with the Tamil people. Forget about all the violence that happens in the Sinhalese community. It happens a lot, but you don't show that. You only show about the Tamil community. And at the same time, you keep showing the Sinhalese people that make it. So first, you only show them the Sinhalese people that made it. So everyone became attached to the image that you need to be a Sinhalese in order to be valuable. So the Tamil people were psychologically terrorized into feeling bad about themselves. And this led to the violence amongst themselves. And now the violence amongst themselves you will use to validate that image of you need to be Sinhalese in Sri Lanka. That's also how they do it. So one thing I want to teach you here. Anytime you see someone being promoted as a role model by the world, ask yourself what agreement they want you in. There is something they want you to agree with. That's why they show off that individual as a role model. Look at the context. If the individual they're showing as a role model comes from an ethnic minority, but the behavior of this role model is so similar to the behavior of the dominant group in that society, they're actually telling you that in society, in life, you depend on us, and if you don't act white, or you don't act Sinhalese, if you don't act this and that, you don't matter. If you don't matter, nobody cares about you. And psychologically, you're threatened, because if you don't matter and people are not obliged to look after you, you die. Your mind picks up this threat. Look, when someone comes to you and they point a gun to your head, your mind knows that there is danger, and danger is very close. But when someone at a distance suggests that you're not valuable, your mind picks up the threat, and the mind will experience the same anxiety as if someone is standing in front of you with a gun to your head. Even though there's nobody there with a gun to your head, your mind will experience the threat on your life. And when you experience the threat on your life, you want to get away from it. So you'll either ball your fist saying, I'm against this, but then you are in a violent self-defending mood, and that's a trap that will attract danger. Or you think, you know what, I'm going to prove myself, I'm not like all those other people over here, and then you're in this loop of people pleasing, and that will become narcissistic. The right response is to just look at it and think, okay, my mind is triggered. I feel anxiety. Okay, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. Okay, so this message over here, this image over here, triggers anxiety in me. Oh, that means that it's not God's will. Oh, if it's not God's will, that means there are other entities who are not in line with God that want to trap me into something. That means there's something they want to keep me away from. There's some blessing they don't want me to benefit from. That's why they're now suggesting something onto me. You get it? Because remember what I said earlier in this live stream. Something doesn't have to be physically true for you to experience it as physically true. So if your mind, if your mind picks up a threat and your alarm goes off, you will experience physical danger, even though it's just a message you heard on TV. It's on TV. The individual is not even close. There are no guns, nothing over there. But still, you experience the threat inside your body, your hormones rush and all of that. Why? Because that's how powerful the mind is. And most people don't know how powerful their own mind is. You have abilities as a human being because you are a spirit being, remember, but you don't have but you need the backup. You don't have a supply from your own. You don't. Your supply either comes from the Holy Spirit or it comes from demonic spirits, which means you're in vampirism. It's one of the two. I'm going to check the comments now to see if I missed a question. Hold on. Elena, you're asking for an example. An example for what? Because I believe I already gave some examples in this live stream. Or maybe you've joined later. Okay. I'm glad the live chat is working. Okay. About the mind being powerful, that something doesn't have to be physically true for you to experience the effects of it. Okay. A short summary. I just explained that associations via images are used to lure you into an example. And I've used the example of Sri Lanka, and I've used the example of you seeing something on a TV screen that suggests a threat, and you experience a threat, and you may develop health issues even though there's no actual threat over there. So now your mind is used against you. What I'm going to talk about now is how we as believers counter such things. And it's very easy. We just need to remember the following. God has not given us. Okay, let me look it up for you, okay? No, I'm not looking for the song. Remember this statement very well. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. So instead of the spirit of fear, we have power, love, and a sound mind. Okay? So fear is not in there. Remember this statement very well. Because all voodoo spells are to put you in a state of anxiety. That's the purpose. So there's always a suggestion that there is no power, that you have no power, that you have no love, and you have no sound mind. Now, if you're not born again, you don't have the Holy Spirit, then indeed you don't have the power, nor the love, nor a sound mind. This is a Bible verse, 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. But if you're a believer, let me make this bigger. If you are a believer, ask yourself always, is this reminding me of the power I have in Christ? Just ask yourself that. Someone calls you and talks to you about there's going to be another economic crash, or the stock market is falling apart, or people lose their jobs. And then other people tell you the same thing over and over again. Then ask yourself, is this reminding me of the power, the love, and sound mind I have? because I'm in Christ. If it's not testifying of power and love and a sound mind, that means it's not in line with Christ. So from that point on, when you realize this, you shut down your mind from receiving the message behind the image. Because the image is there to suggest a message onto you. But the moment you self-reflect in line with Christ, you've shut down your mind from the suggestion. Your mind will still see and receive the image, but not the suggestion behind the image. Because it's the suggestion behind the image that's effective. Not just the image, okay? Okay, let me give another example. Hold on. There's a specific image I'm looking for, just to show you guys something. So hold on, if I can't find it, I'll use another image. Ship. Christopher, I'm all right. Nah. You know what? I'll hear this. For example, on this is just a painting. What do you see on this painting over here? And on this painting, you see a flag. That was the first Spanish flag from 1785. That's an image, okay? That they put on a ship and it's waving around. When there's wind, you can see the flag. That image is a sex sign to suggest an agreement onto you. Let's say that you now look at for example, the Navy SEALs, using a modern example. No, I'm not. I want to show you guys the logo. Let's say you see this image over here. Of the Navy SEALs. Okay, this is an image, okay? But this image as a symbol is telling you something. Forget the pagan symbols and all of that. It tells you that this flag is above the weapons. So it's the flag that justifies the use of the weapons. And the flag is a symbol that tells you who owns your life. That's what it comes down to. So it went from the British Empire, that means the British Parliament, being the instrument of the British people to decide over your life, to some general called Washington in New York owning your life. And that's how it grew and grew and grew over time. And that's why when people burn the flag, many get frightened, many get angry. Why? Because they were told that those who belong to this flag own their lives. And that they are only secure if they give in to the people that belong to this flag. That is what they've been told. And that's the message you get from seeing those military parades. that the group, that means your people, in this case the American people, they have the right to take your life. So your life is only valuable. It only matters if the American people value you. So if you want to be valuable and you don't want to end up in dangerous situations, you must pledge allegiance to the flag. And those military parades are to remind you that the group has the right to kill you if you don't value them. So that's a psychological threat on your mind. That's why soldiers are broken down mentally, so that when the time comes to kill off people to relieve themselves, they can say, oh, but those soldiers, they're out of their mind, they have PTSD, they are like killers, okay, we're better off if they're gone. So people feel more at ease when they put those soldiers in dangerous situations where they'll likely die. So they don't have to take responsibility for what they as a community enable, because those arms need to be built somewhere. The army is big business. And who enables those people to join the military? Who promotes it? The people do. So why are they promoting the death of their own sons? And also daughters, because also women that joined the military lately. They want to remind you that they own your life. You're nothing unless they tell you you are. You're only allowed to be valuable with permission of society. On their terms. That's what the flag symbolizes. And it's a sex sign for the men to remember either the group, which is the God that we call society, values you, or else you need to earn your value by dying on the battlefield. And that's why people that have been brainwashed, because that's what the voodoo spell does, it brainwashes you. Those who have been brainwashed into believing in the right to kill of American society, they'll turn on you, want to devour you, when you burn their symbol of safety. The flag has a specific mathematical precision to have a psychological impact on your mind. And here you can see an eagle at the top. Again, they're using blue. They're using blue to signify they want to enforce something onto you. And you see the red lines. The red lines refer to the streams of blood that have been shed. So all the young men that the community killed to relieve themselves. And the stars refer to evil spirits because a star is a sun. So it refers to demonic principalities. That is what it refers to. And this is the British flag. Here you have multiple axes, 3 axes in one. That refers to 666, the beast. So the right to kill was shifted from the British people on the British Isles towards the descendants of the British people and the immigrants that came that now form American society. But it signifies the same right to kill. So this is not something you should be in agreement with. But this is also a voodoo spell that's being used on the population. And in the United States, it's a very powerful one. So how do we counter this? As a believer, you will encounter images like these. Okay? Just realize it's an historical thing. It has value, but not to you. Remember? It has value, but not to you. Oh, now that we talk about the American flag, I'm going to show you it all. Look at this. District of Columbia. Columbia is a goddess. I've explained this before. Here she is. Let me go back to an image that's bigger. Not because I love showing this creep to you, but I want to show you. For all those that are watching this live stream were so into patriotism for the United States, I'm not here to attack you. I'm just here to show you what it is that you're clinging on to. This is Columbia, also known as Semiramis, the mother and wife of Nimrod. So there's an incest history over there. This is a Nephilim. So it is a piece of filth that should have never existed. Okay, this is a Nephilim over here, Columbia. And this guy over here, Christophorus Columbus, as they called him, which is not his real name. He was called Christophe Colomb, and Columbus was a code name he used. He used the name of this Nephilim to refer to himself. Okay? That shows you which side he's on. And now you have the capital of the United States called District of Columbia. So the district of this Nephilim. And look at Washington, D.C. here. This is Greek. This is the Greek style you see over here. This is the Greek style, this Egyptian style with the, how do they call this thing again? With this pillar here that refers to Nimrod's penis, because they're sodomites. And this is the god, these are medieval European styles of the blue bloods. So, obelisk, yes, it's an obelisk. Forgive me, I forgot it for a moment. So, what is there American about this? Your capital is Greek, with blue blood royal influences in it. Even your flag, as I mentioned before, comes from a British colonial flag. So when you pledge allegiance to the flag, you are pledging allegiance to this Nephilim over here. So you're praising a demoness. So every 4 years, when you have this fertility ritual called elections, you're giving homage to the Queen of Heaven. So, just like in the days of the prophet Jeremiah, they worship the Queen of Heaven, the same they're doing today. But they call her Columbia instead of Semiramis. But it's the same thing. So, does that mean that you are dumb or stupid for falling for this? No, you've been tricked. You've been scammed. And that's what voodoo spells are meant for. They're meant to get you into an agreement that normally you wouldn't agree with if you knew exactly what it was that you were entering. So that's why they call it the Oval Office, referring to a female's genitalia. It's all sex magic also involved in this political system of the United States. So understand that voodoo isn't just that weird religion where they do weird stuff like dancing in African hymns and all of that. No, voodoo goes much deeper. It's the common way the world tricks you into getting along. So that's why it's important to know your history. And I'm going to show you one more thing. Now, not I'm going to show you more things, but just this one thing I want to show you. Okay? This is Chiapas. Chiapas is a state, a federal state of Mexico. But, oh, let me get this creep away from here. Chiapas used to be a province of the Kingdom of Guatemala, which was a Spanish territory, a very successful one. Here you see the province of Chiapas. I believe it was established as an actual province. It was as a functional province in 1783, but it existed before in tinier administrative parts. But it was a Spanish province. And Mexico and Guatemala became independent, right? But look at the flag of Chiapas. Let me make it big for you. So, okay, let me show you something else now. So, no, I want to show you something else. Okay. So, this was the first Spanish flag. You see the lion and the castle and the crown. And just look at this. Lion and the castle. And the crown. But Chiapas is a republic, a federal republic of Mexico. But they use the crown. Why they use the crown if you are a republic? And here's the thing, Mexican people, they see this, but they don't really see what's really going on. They're gaslighting you. And they call it Estado Libre y Soberano de Chiapas, free and sovereign state of Chiapas. That simply means that the people there are considered free to harm their own, and nobody has the right to say anything to them. That's what free and sovereign means. And state means a state of mind. And they use the crown to say that the crown regulates the killing drive of the people over there. That's what this all is saying to you. So just realize that any image presented onto you is an image. Okay? It's just an image. Acknowledge it's an image. But look at what's behind the image. Now I'm going to read some of the comments to see if I missed something. Hold on. I've heard about American Britain in prophecy. But okay, there's one more thing I want to explain to you very briefly. The book of Revelations shows you about the end. What the book of Revelation also shows you is that the world is going into a recycle over and over again. And that this recycling is what demons keep doing until Christ returns. And they don't know when Christ will return. So they know that it's at the end of one of their cycles that Christ will return, but they don't know which cycle it is. So that's what I want you to understand. Greek style. I mean, believers. We counter all of this by seeing it for what it is. And remember that verse from 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Now let me highlight this over here for you. Oh no, I need to be logged in to do that. But let me go back to it for you. Spirit of fear. Okay? Remember that. Because this is what's really behind this whole pyramid scheme that we call the world, that we call the world system, is spirits of fear. That's why they use violence, because they don't have any power. That's why they have narcissistic relief, because they have no love. And that's why they have static conformity, because they don't have a sound mind. So you see here, because they're not in Christ, they need substitute for all these three things. They have violence that they perceive as power. The violence is powerful in its destructive effect, but violence is not power. Violence, narcissistic relief or narcissistic supply, and static conformity. Those are the three things the world has. And those are the three things they want you to be in line with. But we smash to pieces all of this by walking in power, love, and a sound mind. You walk in power, that means you also walk in love, because the power enables you to walk in love. And because you walk in love, you're at peace, that means you have a sound mind. And this is what voodoo spells are designed to get you out of, the real power. When you walk in the real power, man, you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised how much impact you'll have without needing a military, without needing millions of dollars, millions of euros, without needing a whole support group, without needing a gang and all of that. You'll be surprised how effective you'll be when you walk in the power. But to walk in the power, you got to submit unto God. So let's go over here. Submit yourself therefore to God, resist the devil, he will flee from you. It's only when you submit unto God that you will be able to walk in the power. And don't forget about this one over here. Very important. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Because remember, relying on your own understanding means that you're operating in fear. Because it relies on you. And because you rely on yourself, you don't have the power. That means that you need a substitute, which is violence. And because you're in violence, you need relief. So narcissistic relief will replace natural love. And because there's no natural love, there's no sound mind. There's only static conformity. So trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Okay? In my live streams, I don't just expose the world to you. No, I show you what you're dealing with so that you can counter it in a Christ-centered way. That's what I'm doing with these live streams. Okay? So here's one thing I need to say here. Natalie B said, thank you for that reminder. All fear is not of the Lord. Let me correct you, Natalie. No fear comes from the Lord. The fear of the Lord is an cultural expression that the ancient Hebrews used, because the ancient Hebrews often walked in fear. Just read the Old Testament. So in their culture, they had fearful expressions that they associated with God. And those fearful expressions are recorded in Scripture. But just because they had fearful expressions in their culture doesn't mean that I need to adopt those fearful expressions. Okay? Because fear doesn't come from God. If fear was from God, God would have given us a lot of it. No. There is no such thing as godly fear, holy fear, righteous fear. Healthy fear doesn't exist. The way you get out of fear is very simple. Just know, first you need to acknowledge that fear is unnatural. Let me repeat that, fear is unnatural. There are scientists who are pagans who say that fear has a good effect. No, fear is destructive. When you are in a fear state, your body breaks down. Your immune system goes down. And that's not good for you. Go to any medical professional, any surgeon, or anyone that works in a hospital that completed med school, and ask them if the weakening of your immune system is good for you. They will tell you no. Even when they don't have Christ, they will tell you if your immune system goes down, your body can become sick anytime. It's not good for you. Okay? So if something causes your immune system, the balances of your body to go down, it's not good for you. So how can fear ever be good? It's never good. Never. So you must know fear is unnatural. If it's unnatural, it means it's not part of God's design. So God will never provide something that it goes against your design. Everything that's healthy, good, and beneficial to you must be in harmony with your design. Okay? So if fear is not part of your design, that means that others want to force it in you, not on you, but in you. So why do they want to force it in you? Because there's something they want from you that it naturally can't have. So, when you acknowledge that fear is unnatural, automatically no message that suggests otherwise can enter your mind. Because that realization, fear is unnatural, it is natural. So once you realize that, you're at ease, because nothing that suggests fear anymore can trick you. The moment you believe that there is something called good fear, man, you're open to a lot of stuff. If good fear existed, that means it would, okay, let me go with you. Hold on. Let me go to the New King James Version. Hold on. Just hold on. Here it says, but the cowardly, the unbelieving, abominable, murderers, sexually immoral, sorcerers, idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake of fire which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. I made videos about second death before. I'm not going to repeat all of that here. If good fear existed, then good cowards would also exist. Good unbelief would also exist. Good abominations would also exist. That means good abuse would also exist. Sickness is abominable. So if good fear exists, there will also be good sickness, good cancer, good infection, good tumors. You saw how ridiculous it sounds? Good murderers, good sexual abuse, good sexual exploitation, good prostitution, and go on and on and on. No, there is no such thing as good fear. never existed, cannot exist, and will never exist. So you counter voodoo spells by decreeing and declaring in line with Christ. So, for example, I've made 3 videos a while back in which I've used Psalms 23 to teach you how you can decree and declare over yourself in line with Christ. I really recommend you to go and watch that video, because I show you step by step how you can use the word to be in alignment with Christ. Because by being in alignment with Christ and His word, voodoo spells lose their effect on you. Christopher, there is no such thing as healthy fear. What you're talking about is just your natural propensity for safety. Your body is designed for safety. So anything that's unsafe, your body freezes or your body withholds. So when someone doesn't put their hand in someone puts their hand in a tiger cage, then they're not functioning properly. Because anyone that functions properly would not put their bodies at risk. So the avoidance of potential harm is not fear. So what we believers need to stop doing also is to assign good qualities to this thing called fear, because it doesn't have any. It doesn't at all. If it did, God would have given it to us. So, there's not much more I need to show. Just understand that whenever these institutions, we call mainstream media, are showing something to you, I'm not going to talk much about what they're showing here, because you know what I'm about to say. When they're showing something to you, it's always because there is something they want you to agree with, and because they don't serve Christ, you know, is to keep you away from walking in the power. This is all anxiety injection over here. All of this. And by the way, this thing called respect simply means giving in to the demand of someone else to be validated. It's actually fear. You're told to have honorable fear towards others. Honorable fear. No. When you can either be to be honorable towards someone else is one thing, but there's also thing as honorable fear. Okay, it doesn't exist. So unlearn this hoax called respect. Because of this hoax, many people stay in dangerous situations they should have left a long time ago. Okay, so I hope this live stream helps you to realize that you need to counter things by renewing your mind and by aligning yourself with Christ. Because when you align yourself with Christ, you counter all those fiery darts against you. So here's the thing. Walk by faith, not by sight, and never rely on your own understanding. So about, and I'm going to close with this. I already explained to you that this whole American flag thing is it's a sex sign and a scam to allow you to agree with exploitation of your own life by your own society. So when they talk about make America great again, who do they want to make great? Trump is being used as the symbol for this agenda, but who are they making great? It's not the people. The people think that it applies to them, but it's the pagan system of devil worship that they want to renew. That's what they mean with America. Or else would say, make the United States great again. Make America great again. America is very broad. And America comes from the word a word in Indian that means feathered serpent, which is another reference to Satan. So that's what I mean with suggestions. When you read America, you think about United States, but that's not what it says. So pay attention to that. If you align yourself with Christ, that means you can counter all those scams. None of those puppets will trigger you nor make you feel interested anymore. So that's it for now. I don't want to make this live stream too long. Remember, there is no such thing as good fear. The only thing that you should have is this amazement for how great God is. Not because that greatness can come against you and do something to you, but because that greatness is so big that you're safe because he's so great. That's the only sense of awe you should have towards God. That he is so great and you feel safe in his greatness. Any other type of adherence to Christ is an abomination. You should see him for who he is, how great he is, and now you walk in his power because he's great. That is worshiping God in spirit and truth. And I had a question from, well, let's see where it is. What does perfect love cast out fear really means? It means the following. Perfect love simply means that you walk in the strength of Christ without any doubts. It casts out all fear, because fear is a perversion of how to relate to one another. All beings in heaven and on earth, I'm talking about spirit beings, all spirit beings in heaven and on earth ought to walk by faith, ought to walk in complete confidence in the Creator. That's how we ought to relate to one another. Fear is you not relying on the Creator, and therefore you want to substitute him with something else. That's what fear is. So when you walk in complete confidence in Christ, no fear can exist over there. You have bodily fright. Let's say that you go high on a mountain. Your body will sense fright because your body is not used to that. So that's bodily fright. That's not fear, just bodily fright, okay? So if you're driving on the road and suddenly there's a truck that's coming because the truck driver is drunk, your body will sense a fright. That's a adrenaline rush so that you can use your physical body to get into safety. That's not fear. That's just a protecting mechanism of the body. Fear is when you don't rely on Christ and now you need to hold on to something or someone else, and that thing will always disappoint you. So, Perfect love casts out all fear. Or say it like this. Active faith shuts down all negativity and danger towards you. So walk in it. That's why Christ said, you shall tread upon scorpions and serpents and the whole camp of the enemy, and nothing shall by no means harm you. Nothing shall by no means harm you. Do you believe it? Okay. I'm going to shut down this live stream now. Keep agreeing with Christ, and remember, there is no such thing as good fear.